Ooh. Man. When you make your hot chocolate buttermilk and then you let it sit there for a while, all the butter like floats to the top. Ooh. Man, that's tough to beat at 6:55 in the morning. Welcome to the stream. Cheers to you, whenever it is, wherever it is, whatever year, whatever timeline, whatever sort of adjacent multiverse you're just popping in, checking how things are. Cheers to you, buddy. Think about all the useless lives. Mine being one of them. But think about all the billions of lives that have come before us, all the dead bodies in the ground. Just think about all the dead bodies in the ground. Decayed and gone. Some remains still remain. There was a lot of good lives. There was a lot of really special lives that changed the course of the world. But most of the lives that were lived, pointless existence, mainly. Just there to eat, breathe, and consume. Not there to help anybody or Am I one of those lives? Is that me? Am I just here to exist, to consume goods from the world? Being in manufacturing, I feel like I give back. Yes, my goods are trivial, but was the sculptor's work any less important? I beg to differ. Yes. Yes, indeed. Let's talk about Valentine's Day for a minute now that we're on the backside of it. I had an anticipation that I was just going to keep things going, 1 or 2 sales every day. But then Valentine's Day came, and by 6 p.m. I had no sales, and I was like, well, and then I went and like posted pictures of flowers and all that kind of stuff. My mind was in other areas. I think everybody else's mind was as well. Well, I think they were focused on their significant other, or memories of the past, or whatever it may be. I think they had plans, and they went out to do those plans. And I think purchasing firearms accessories was not on their list, not in their mind. So I went to bed at 6 p.m. last night. Woke up at midnight. When I woke up, what happened between 6 p.m. and midnight? People came back from their plans. People got off of work. It's a Friday. They went back. Their plans didn't work out. Their woman didn't love them. Their man didn't show up like he thought. He just wasn't interested in being a part of their day. Whatever it was, their plans didn't work out for them. So what did they do after 6 p.m. on Valentine's Day? They went out and they started looking for assault weapon accessories. And I ended up increasing the total number of orders by 20%. I increased my total number of orders to date by 20% between 6 p.m. and midnight on Valentine's Day. Interesting. Very interesting. Embarrassingly, which is why this live stream is happening. Not for me to admit my embarrassment, but rather to fix the misfitting parts that I had sent out as gifts. And I think even a part of my ultimate grip pack, which means I'm going to have to resend out a part. But our handrail ladder, our Picatinny rail ladder, this guy right here, it's supposed to snap on over top of your rails. Doesn't fit the real deal. It fits my little plastic piece. Doesn't fit the real deal in real life, though. That's too bad. We're going to have to redesign that and make it larger, longer. I'm shocked. Really am shocked. So we're going to break out the caliper. We're going to take some measurements, and we're going to go back at it and get it figured out. And we're going to work at it until we get it right. And then we're going to remanufacture them and send them off to the customers. It sucks because I literally just printed a bunch in white. Like, as soon as I got done printing the ones in white, I took them off the board and just threw them right in the garbage. Just like, now, is it my fault? Yeah, it's always my fault. Did I ask somebody to get me something, return something of mine that was absolutely critical 2.5 weeks ago? Yes, I did. At the end of January, I asked for that back, right away. And they said, yep, I'm bringing it over. I'm bringing it over right away. Nearly 3 weeks later, it just breaks my heart. Because those last 12 orders, anyway, whatever. Cheers to going forwards from here. It's okay. Please take a moment to take a small little smoke break or coffee break or whatever it is that you like to do, man. Take a moment and do it with me. That would fill up my heart. Cheers to you. Oh, life in 2025. Makes me think about the Fairbanks who used to live right up the road from me. They were our closest neighbors. I remember going up to the Fairbanks' house, and they had one. They had the first Nintendo, and on it there was this dirt biking game where you could build your own racetrack. You could drive your dirt bike on it and hit all the jumps. There was only like 5 or 6 jumps and like moguls and stuff. But still, the fact that you could build your own track and take your creative ideas and make something your own really fascinated me. And I had to have been 5, 6, 7, maybe. These are some of my earliest memories. And I used to somehow get up there. I only made it up there probably 4 or 5 times, maybe the last 3. I only remember really playing the video game once, maybe twice. So realistically, I was probably only up there 3 times. But the memory was so profound in that video game experience stuck with me. And I was kind of lived the rest of my childhood chasing that creative experience where you got to make the creative decisions. That was really it. That was really the first time that I ever did digital creation. Boy, I was so young. What a great first experience. And with, just at the right time, technology, that was really the first time that you really could do that. I really don't know of many games before that where you could lay out your own experience or have a hand in laying out your own experience. The next time I got into anything creative would have been not in the digital sense. It would have been in, I would have been like, not like anywhere between 8 and 11. I was like pulling apart speakers and little motors and pressing them to 9-volt batteries and just watching them buzz. I didn't really start wiring speakers until high school. But that I only took so far. That I only took so far. The next time I wired speakers was up in Michigan for my. I built an in-house security system. I even did it for my brother's laundromat down there. He had a point tilt zoom camera system with a tiny little speaker on it. Yeah, it's the same thing that I had. And what I did was I attached that tiny little speaker. I cut the speaker off, took the wires transferred them to an amplifier and then took the amplified sound out through larger cables to larger speakers throughout the facility. A very primitive way to get a hold of the people inside of your building when you're remote. And I had no formal education on that, right? Just a man out there, just really just a kid, just having fun. That's really what the hot chocolate is good for. When you finished your smoke, and because the first half of your smoke is just delicious, it's the best. The greens, right? Taking the first half of your cigar, or whatever, the first third of your cigarette, the flavor is just on point. But when you get down to the end, right, then when you're smoking bowls or whatever it may be, as you get more and more down to just pure carbon, as you evaporate off more and more of the chemicals, compounds, as you evaporate them. Those terpenes, the flavonoids, are the first to go, leaving the heavier materials, the tars, the lipids, the fats. They have a negative effect on the flavor. So, which is why you can have such a incredible, consistent experience with vape cartridges, because we've stripped all of that away and left you with just the elements that you want. You can think of it like we've literally stripped it all away. We've stripped it all out. We've individualized every single compound, including the flavonoids, including the terpenes. We've fractured them all off. We've put them into a liquid. We've frozen the liquid, and we took all the fatty acids off right away. We took it down to negative 40 C in methanol, and then just scraped all the fats and lipids off. Okay, we took them off in freezing. Then we take it up to room temperature. Then we take it up to boiled, and then we fracture off through controlled boiling in collection vessels, bringing it right up to the boiling point where this is about to boil off. So then we flip the flask, boil this off at a controlled temperature, controlling the temperature right there. Catch everything there. When it's done, we're going to flip the flask. We're going to boil this one off. You get what I'm saying now? All of a sudden, through all these flasks, we have fractured ingredients out of our extraction. This is how you isolate essential oils. And through that cold-hot transfer, you know how we went cold first? That's how we can separate things that evaporate at the same temperature here, but they have a different, we can do different things to help separate them out. Oh my goodness. I'm going to show it to you. We're just going to talk about this first right away, because it's something. It's here. It's official, ladies and gentlemen. This is the public reveal of the Tactical Dragon. This is it. I have attached it successfully to my little scales, my small example that I have. So I believe it's going to work. It's a clear fit. Let me grab that so I can show you. This is a large. This is not a slim. This is a large M-LOK handguard. Okay. And here we go. A clear fit. Okay. And a slim fits in there like nothing. Like plenty of room on either side. So this is it. I think we want to make the, I don't know. I really don't like the way it fit, honestly. If I'm just gonna level with you, from what I see, it sits a little bit too low. The tongue is too high. So I don't, we've got room on the printer. I could make it larger, even larger. I thought it was going to be bigger, right? I mean, this thing is just fucking sick. Now that I look at it, there's not really enough room to fit a flash hider. Like you almost got to run straight threads or whatever it is that you got on the end, which is unfortunate. That's not what you want. So, what are we going to do? I have removed everything right out to the tongue. Okay, so if you look down here, there's a cutout here, right where my finger is, and that cutout cannot be any more because it's flush with the end of the tongue. So. It is indeed. That's so interesting. Now, I've had a problem with it breaking off down here at the base, okay? See that break right at the chin? Right here. Okay, so when I go into that grip actually comes out of there pretty decent, I'm not gonna lie. With the roundedness, it fits with the round angles on the Dragon. because the dragon's not right angles. It's rounded, it's sharp. It's pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. It really is. If we could only make it a little bit better. It seems so much bigger on the computer. It looks huge. But in hand, it's pretty small. And here's the best part. This is the best part right here. Resting your thumb on the back of this little ledge right here feels just right. And then you've got these scales up here that you're pushing up against. I mean, it feels like when you dig yourself in there and you like push the back of your thumb up against this, you see that little like out swoop that fits the back of your thumb and just hugs it. This hugs your thumb so nice right here. And then it just fits the contour, and it hooks right behind you. And then you're pushing all from this, and you've got to stop it for the base of your finger. And then this is tight right here. So you've got a front stop there, but you're tight all the way down to the base of your hand as well. This feels great. It feels, and it's super light. Like, and when I say it's super light, like it's pretty light. I'm not gonna lie, it's not super light, but it's pretty light. I made 12 millimeter spacing on supports in there. It's pretty much hollow in there, but for a millimeter, almost 2 mil, yeah, pretty much 2 mils, 1.8 millimeters thick on the walls. My concern is that this is pretty much hollow too. This tube in here, and that is somewhat of a concern. Now, do I think people are really going to be throwing this thing around? Not really. I don't think so. Because this one is broken and it's not going to be for sale, it's also going to be the first paint test that we're going to do. I might do some drop tests with it, I think. Get it out there and see if we can get it to fracture here. I'm willing to bet it's going to fracture here and right here. Or maybe here, kind of at this angle. That's the beautiful thing about this manufacturing, is that even though it's made in this orientation in layers, it seems to be adhered so well. I can't even see lines in this at all. This is just flawless. I'm just shocked at the detail. I mean, where are the layer lines? You can't tell. I mean, right up to the end of the spikes. Come on, camera. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. We do need to make it twice the size, though. I mean, it really can't get any bigger, unfortunately, for a couple of reasons. One, the nose is getting too elevated. All right. What a cool piece. That's all I can say about that. How unique. It sits really well. Just like that. Wow. It could sit on your desk just like that. On your table. That's pretty neat right there. I don't know what you could put in his mouth, but you could definitely put something in his mouth. Roses, flowers. That's a really interesting idea. Now, that's an interesting idea. If we could take this and turn this into a planter. I think it can be done quite easily. You want a solid planter that holds water? Or do you want a through one that's got a drain dish on it? Or do you make it into a vase that holds roses? Stuff like that. It's pretty narrow for a planter, I'm not going to lie. The mouth is that big. It's too narrow for a planter. Unless it was that way, that makes more sense, but that's not how she's constructed. So interesting vase idea. So it currently sits like this. Let's just imagine those plants are inside of it. I don't know if I like it. What are we going to do with this thing? We're going to put on Sherlock Holmes. I'm going to... I'm going to do a little research. Oh, we're getting down there on the list. We only have like 70 videos to go. All right. We are starting from the beginning. Sherlock Holmes and the case of the white cockerel.
Given up his regular practice and retired to his bee farm on the Sussex Downs. I was staying with him there for a few weeks' holiday, and I remember coming down to breakfast one morning to find my old friend, his pipe clenched between his teeth, squatting on a stool, examining the contents of a large metal box at his feet. As he threw back the lid, I could see the box was half full of papers. Papers tied up with red tape in separate packages. After sorting through them for a few moments, he turned to me and said, "A box of secrets, my dear Watson. A box of deep, dark secrets." Are they the records of your early cases, huh?
Yes, my boy. These were all done before my biographer had come to glorify me.
I've often wished that I had the notes on them.
So that you might transmute my little adventures into those rather florid stories of yours?
My stories aren't florid. Factual accounts of what happened.
Oh, don't be hurt, my dear fellow.
Oh,
Much too early in the day.
Hmm.
Well, Watson, perhaps someday the world will hear of these cases. They're not all successes, but there are some pretty little problems among them.
I'm sure.
For example, here's the record of the Tarleton murders. And here's the case of Banbury, the wine merchant.
What happened to him?
He died, Watson, under peculiarly horrible circumstances. That case was one of my failures, I'm afraid. Aha! This adventure was really a little recherche. It's a full account of Ricoletti of the clubfoot and his abominable wife.
Yes, I vaguely remember a dreadful woman.
Ghosts from the past, Watson. Ghosts to remind me that my heydays long past.
Rubbish. I'm quite sure that if a case were to present itself at this moment, you'd be totally unable to resist.
You're wrong, old chap. Look at this note. It arrived just before you came downstairs. Mr. Manderby, the local squire, apparently needs my help. And yet I assure you I'm not in the least tempted to give it to him.
May I see it?
Certainly. Yeah.
Have a look. Dear Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I need your help desperately. Have the goodness to call on me as soon as convenience permits. Continued theft of chickens may appear to be a small matter. Chickens, who gracious me. But I assure you that there are sinister forces at work. Asking you to catch a chicken thief. Really, Holmes?
Yes, Watson. Chickens. Something of a come down, isn't it?
Well, do you know this, Mr. Manderby?
No. But surely his handwriting gives you a clue to his character.
Well, it's legible and regular. A man of business habits, I should say, and of some force of character.
No, Watson.
Oh, sorry.
Look at his long letters. They hardly rise above the common herd. That D might be an A, and the L an E. Men of character always differentiate their long letters, however illegibly they may write. There's vacillation in his case, and self-esteem is capital.
That's amazing, Holmes.
Elementary, my dear Watson, and our long association together should remind you of the fact. I'm afraid you're getting rusty.
Well, perhaps you're getting rusty too, Holmes, and since the sun is shining, and this letter comes from a neighbor of yours, it might be rather interesting to...
Call on Mr. Manderby.
Exactly. I'd like to see if your analysis of his character matches the gentleman himself. In any case, Holmes, he may really be in trouble, you know.
Watson, you're like an old war horse hearing a nearly forgotten bugle.
Yeah, I dare say, Holmes. But even for stolen chickens, it's good to be in harness with you again.
When that wistful tone creeps into your voice, I can't refuse you, Watson. Very well. Let's stroll across the downs and investigate the mystery of Mr. Manderby's chickens.
you and your friend came here so promptly.
It would seem to me, Mr. Manderby, that your wisest course would have been to call in the local police.
I did. The idiots scoffed at me.
Indeed, Mr. Vanderbilt, why?
Well, they said if they had to track down all the chicken thieves in these parts, they'd have no time for their more important duties.
I must admit that I can follow their reasoning, sir.
Well, I can't, since they seem to spend most of their time playing skittles in the Star and Garter. The local sergeant appears to have been selected for his complete lack of grey matter. Hasn't one iota of imagination. He's unable to see in what respect this differs from an ordinary chicken theft.
Well, in what way does it differ, Mr. Vanderbilt?
Well, the chicken coops were broken into with considerable ingenuity. The thief could have taken all he could carry. But he stole only one chicken, a white cockerel.
A white cockerel? When did this take place?
Early last evening. That was when I sent my note to you, Mr. Holmes. But in the early hours of this morning, a burglar broke into the house itself.
And what was stolen this time?
Again, the thief took only one object. My daughter's hairbrush.
Does your daughter know of these thefts?
No, I didn't tell her. The child's full enough of peculiar fancies as it is.
A white cockerel and a hairbrush. Mr. Manderby, I came here against my better judgment, but thank heaven I did. Please let me talk to your daughter at once. Unless I'm very much mistaken, there's devil's work afoot.
Alicia's playing in the drawing room. I'll take you in.
I think, if you don't mind, Mr. Manderby, that we would prefer to see her alone.
Rubbish. What could you possibly wish to say to my daughter that you couldn't say in front of me?
Now, since my friend has been kind enough to help you, sir, I think you'd better let him conduct his investigation in his own manner.
Oh, very, very, very well. All sounds unnecessarily mysterious to me. I'll be in my study.
Dr. Fuller, you were right in your analysis of his character, Holmes. Well, let's go in.
Listen to the piano, Watson.
What a weird tune.
Yes. An odd, primitive melody to hear in the heart of the English countryside. Very curious.
I'm sorry, Father. Oh, it isn't Father. Who are you, gentlemen?
Miss Manderby, permit me to introduce myself. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, my dear?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I knew you lived in the neighborhood. Why are you here?
At your father's request.
Oh, nothing's wrong, is it, Mr. Holmes?
I'm not sure, Miss Manderby. That's why we've come to talk to you.
Oh, may we sit down, my dear?
Oh, yes, of course. Please forgive me.
Thank you, sir.
You play the piano excellently, Miss Manderby. Have you ever thought of concert work?
Concert work? Oh, no, sir. Papa'd never allow it. He needs me here all the time.
You don't see many people here at the house.
No, Dr. Watson. Papa doesn't like me to cultivate any friends. He wishes me to devote all my attention to him.
Extremely selfish and medieval point of view, it would seem to me.
Oh, please, Mr. Holmes. You mustn't say anything against Papa. If he knew that we were talking about him, he'd be furious.
Then let me confine myself to you, Miss Manderby. Do you know of anyone in this neighborhood who might wish you serious harm?
No, I don't. As I told you, I hardly know anyone.
Then why, my dear young lady, are you so obviously terrified of your own shadow?
Please don't ask me that. I haven't even had the courage to tell Papa.
Possibly not, my dear, but Mr. Holmes is here to help you and to protect you. That's why he insisted on our seeing you alone.
Yes, Miss Manderby. And a trouble shared, you know?
Very well, Mr. Holmes. I will tell you. I've got to tell someone. Last night I had a ghastly dream. I dreamed that I was in some foreign country, in the jungle. I was tied to a stone slab, and a group of natives danced around me, waving knives. And they were all wearing terrifying masks.
Oh, my dear, it sounds like too much lobster for supper.
Quiet, Watson.
Oh.
Please continue, Miss Manderby.
All the time I could hear a strange, haunting pipe playing in the background. It sounded like some sort of flute, and there was a drum beating out a slow, rhythmic beat.
The same rhythm that you were playing on the piano as we came in?
Why, yes. It's been haunting me ever since I awakened this morning. It goes like this. carefully, Mr. Holmes. I awakened from the nightmare, but I could still hear the melody continuing. I went to the window, and in the moonlight, I saw a tall man walking below.
Could you recognize him?
No, Mr. Holmes. He was disappearing through the shrubbery, and his back was turned. But his hands were raised to his mouth. And I could hear the same melody being played on some kind of flute. It was awful, awful.
You haven't told your father about it.
No, Dr. Watson. He wouldn't have believed me. Papa's always accusing me of being fanciful. Oh, but I'm not. Really, I'm not.
Miss Manby, I'm glad that you've told us this, though I suggest that you continue to keep it a secret from your father.
Very well, Mr. Holmes.
Come on, Watson.
All right, Holmes. Goodbye, my dear, and courage, Miss Vanderbilt. You have friends now.
Good day, gentlemen. Good day.
Holmes, what the devil's all this about?
Well, I can answer that question, Watson. The case will be solved. As it is, there's work to be done.
Ah, very well, Holmes.
Yes, Mr. Manderby, here we are.
Yeah, I hope you find out what's wrong with the lassie. She hasn't been herself today.
A change from her normal self, where you are concerned, might be a benefit, sir.
Yes, indeed. The poor girl seems completely terrified of you, sir. The problem with my daughter's relationship with her father is no possible concern of yours. I asked you here on a simple matter of detection.
Detection, yes, but far from simple. I warn you, you're in serious danger of the loss of a great deal more than a white cockerel and a hairbrush. Be on your guard, Mr. Manderby. Dr. Watson and I must conduct a little investigation in the village. You may expect a call from us later in the day. Well, Watson, here we are at the Larches.
Charming house, but I still don't see quite why we're here.
Because my inquiries uncovered the fact that this is the only house in the neighborhood with relatively new tenants. When something extraordinary happens in the peaceful countryside, look first for a newcomer. The owner's name is Mr. George Shapley. Let's see what information the gentleman can give us.
Isn't that, Holmes? Sounds like a flute.
Yes, Watson. And the melody is the same that Miss Manderby played for us on the piano.
And this house is only a stone's throw away from hers.
Precisely.
Yes, gentlemen.
Mr. Shapley,
Yes.
my name is Holmes, and this is my friend, Dr.
How
Watson.
do you do, sir? How are you, Doctor? What can I do for you, gentlemen?
I'm something of a student of music. We were walking past your house, and I heard what sounded like a flute playing a strange
It
melody.
seemed to come from the direction of the stables over there. Oh, that. It's my manservant, Harker. He's a West Indian. Brought him over with me from Trinidad. He's quite a musician. In an amateur sort of way, you know.
I wonder if I might speak to him.
Of course you can, Mr. Holmes. I'll walk you over there.
Thank you. We were thinking of getting up a little entertainment in the village for the Church Ladies' Bazaar. Perhaps your man would consider contributing his services.
You can ask him. He spends 2 or 3 hours a day out here practicing. Harker,
Yes?
come here a minute.
Yes, Mr. Pepper.
These gentlemen heard you playing and wondered if you'd like to do something for some village concert or other.
Oh, that's flattering.
We're organizing a musical soiree for the church ladies in a few weeks.
Yes, sir, man, and we'd like you to play for us.
I'm only an amateur, but I'll be very glad to help, gentlemen.
That instrument you were playing, it had an odd quality. Was it a flute?
Yes, sir. Though I doubt if you've ever seen one like it. Look for yourself.
Lord, looks as if it's made of bone.
It is, sir. From a human leg bone.
Really?
It's about 200 years old and originally came from Brazil. It's quite a collector's item.
I'm sure it is. Tell me, Harker, since you're from the West Indies and obviously a lover of music, I presume you're familiar with some of the primitive melodies indigenous to that part of the world. Some of the tribal chants, for instance.
Oh, yes, sir. I know many of them.
Perhaps you'd play some at the concert.
I'd rather not, sir. Primitive chants are dangerous medicine, and that evil powers are not appreciated or understood.
I quite agree with you, Harker. Well, I'm much obliged to you, and we shall count on you for the concert. Good day to you both. Come on, Watson.
Good day.
Dr. Watson. It's our man, Holmes. He lives within 2 houses of this Vanderbilt, and he plays the flute.
Well, Watson, though I don't think the pattern is remotely as clear as you think, I'll agree that suspicion would seem to focus on a certain Harker. I could even produce another clue that points to it. Good. I picked this object from his coat as he turned to you during the conversation. None of you noticed it.
What is it?
Look this up, Watson. Here.
Great heavens. It's a feather from a white cockerel. Holmes, I thought you said we were going back to Mr. Mander's house before the day's over.
We are, Watson.
Why are we back here at your bee farm? It's 8:30 in the evening now.
We shall call on Mr. Manderby before long. My investigation is complete. What luck did you have?
Well, I did as you told me. I made exhaustive inquiries in the village.
With what result?
I couldn't find out much about Mr. Shatner. Nobody knows anything about the man except that he has a foreign manservant and that he paid cash for his house and deposited a large sum of money in the local bank. What did you discover? I see that you've been up to your ears in reference books.
Yes, Watson. Books concerning the peculiarly revolting ceremonies connected with voodooism.
Voodooism? That's black magic.
But flourishing in our English countryside, apparently. A white cockerel is the second finest sacrifice in voodoo magic associated with the West Indian
That
giants.
accounts for the first step. But how about the stolen hairbrush?
In all such magic, the possession of intensely personal objects, particularly human hair, is considered to give great supernatural powers over that person.
Then it's obvious that West Indian servant is trying to get power over Miss Manderby. Holmes, you spoke of a white cockerel being the second finest sacrifice. What is the first?
A human sacrifice. The sacrifice of a young girl. Scott, and tomorrow night the moon is full. I think that tonight the girl should be safe, but of course we'll go over there at once.
Look, Holmes, the lights of a carriage are coming up your driveway.
And it's no social call. It's driving at a gallop. Come on, Watson.
I have nothing that's happened to Miss Manderby already before we get to the...
Who is it? What's wrong?
It's Father Manderby. What's happened to Mr. Manderby? What is she? My daughter, she's disappeared. The whole neighborhood's searching for her. For heaven's sake, further, you come at once.
We'll find out in a moment what Sherlock Holmes decides to do now. But first, men, why not start today and take better care of the hair you've got? Remember, one of the first requisites of handsome, healthy-looking hair is a hygienic scalp. So why settle for just any hairdressing when you can enjoy the extra advantages of a highly specialized hair tonic like Kreml? Kreml contains a special combination of hair grooming ingredients which is found in no other hair tonic. This is why it keeps unruly hair neatly in place longer, with a rich, healthy-looking luster. Yet Kreml never gives hair that cheap, greasy, patent leather look. It never leaves hair feeling sticky, gummy, or dirty. Your hair and scalp always look and feel so clean with Kreml. And if your hair is so dry it breaks and falls when you comb it, start using Kreml at once. Let it make your hair feel softer, more pliable, and look as if it had some body to it. Kreml is also fine to lubricate a dry scalp. At the same time, it removes dandruff flakes. A quick massage with Kreml helps stimulate the cutaneous circulation of the scalp. Notice how alive, how invigorated your scalp feels. So for better groomed hair, a hygienic scalp, use Kreml daily. Kreml. Kreml Hair Tonic. Well, Dr. Watson, what happened next? You and the great Sherlock Holmes drove over to Mr. Manderby's house, I suppose.
Yes, Mr. Bell, as fast as a pony and trap could carry us there. When we arrived, Manderby quickly led us to the shrubbery beneath his daughter's window.
You can see how the fiend got into the house, Mr. Holmes. By climbing this trellis work. Footprints in the earth leading toward it, but none leaving.
And the man, whoever he was, must have left the house by some other exit.
An amazing deduction, Watson.
There's no need to be sarcastic. Holmes, we should go to the Shepard's house at once. It's obvious that that's where the danger lies.
Before saying that anything is obvious, Watson, I'd like your help in trying an experiment.
Yes, of course, Holmes. Well, what is it?
Try climbing that trellis for me, will you?
You'll give me all the best jobs, don't you? Let me handle you over.
Here you are. Out you go.
Oh, Holmes, it seems to me you're wasting valuable time.
Mr. Manderby, since you asked my help, I suggest you let me handle the case in my own way.
Holmes, I don't think this trellis is going to hold my weight. Oh!
Bravo, Watson. Watson. Your test has been invaluable.
What do you mean it's been invaluable? I think I've broken my back.
I'm sure you'll survive. Come on, old chap. Get on your feet. We'll go to Mr. Shapley's house at once. I only hope we're not too late to prevent a tragedy.
There's a light coming from the stables, Holmes.
Music, too. Listen.
It's that West Indian playing his devilish chant again.
Faster, Watson.
Look. There's someone standing in the shadows by the harness room there.
Mr. Shapley. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Who? Dr. Watson. Thank heavens you're here.
What's wrong, Mr. Shapley?
Look in that empty store there. You can see through the broken plank in the wall. The one where the music's coming from. Good heavens. Holmes. There's Miss Vanderbilt lying on the floor unconscious.
Yes, with a dead white cockroach beside her and a fire smoldering in the corner.
And you think that servant of mine's in there playing his filthy music? Don't say
Filthy music.
Mr. Holmes, I've got a revolver. I'm going in to get him.
I think we'll come with you, Mr. Shapley.
No. My servant. I'll take care of him myself.
Arthur Watson. Give me that revolver. Give it to me, I say.
What do you think you're doing, man? Oh, don't you knock the revolver right off his head?
Pick it up, Watson. I have a profound dislike for seeing murder committed under my very eyes.
Murder? But the potential murder is hot for the disturbance.
Indeed, then why is his unconscious body lying in the corner there?
Can't be the music you're playing. That's his flute.
Yes, and it's accompanied by a drum. A remarkable feat, even for a man not lying unconscious on the floor. Music is undoubtedly that of a gramophone. You're remarkably quiet, Mr. Harker.
All I see is he's unconscious.
My dear Watson, you're overlooking an important fact. It's a case of identity. The West Indian gentleman lying on the floor is the master, Mr. Shapley. This man is the servant, Harker.
No, you don't. I'll bring home. Let go of me. You can't prove anything.
I can and I will. You will go to prison for this night's work. Watson, see what may be done to arrive at the house while I turn this man over to the police. How is Miss Manderby, Watson?
She's going to be all right, Holmes. I took her home to her father's and left instructions for her care. How are you feeling, Shepard?
Fine, thank you, Dr. Watson. But I'm waiting for Mr. Holmes to explain this nice happenings to me.
So am I, as usual.
Then let me analyze this singular affair in its logical progression. I early concluded that you, Mr. Shapley, were the master, and the other man was the servant.
Right, Mr. Holmes, but I didn't know how you knew it.
Your speech and manner suggested nothing else. You reversed roles, I imagine, because it was an easier way to rent a house in the English countryside.
That was the reason, Mr. Holmes. In my previous visits, I've discerned a certain prejudice against foreigners.
That's a shocking thing, but I wouldn't doubt it, Mr. Shapley. You decided to live here for your health, I suppose?
No, Doctor. I came to the English countryside for peace. Peace to conclude my studies on the origin and history of West Indian native music.
I see.
I've been working in close conjunction with Professor Griffiths of the Brighton College of Anthropology. It was he who concerned me to make graphophone records for my works with a view to recording them for musical archives.
And your servant saw his advantage. When you decided to change identities, he realized that if he disposed of you, he would be able to continue in his false character as the supposed Mr. Shapley. He could have taken over your large bank balance and retired under yet a third name with the proceeds.
Then he concocted this elaborate plot involving voodoo and native chants, knowing that his master was the suspect.
Precisely. He drugged his master, placed him in the incriminating trap, and then planned to burst in just ahead of us and shoot him.
But Holmes, the white feather you found on Mr. Shapley's coat.
Undoubtedly planted there.
Mr. Holmes, I still don't see how you knew that my man was responsible.
The first clue was the trellis. It's obvious that you never climbed that. You're heavier than Dr. Watson, and it wouldn't support his weight. Your servant was a small, light man. Obviously, it was he.
Well, I see it all now. And then, of course, when we heard the music while Mr. Shapley was still lying unconscious, it was obvious that the whole thing was a plot. Oh, what a shocking business.
Yes, but I can tell you how grateful I am to you, gentlemen. You saved my life. Mr. Holmes, I must insist on paying you a handsome fee.
A fee? No, Mr. Shapley. I couldn't dream of accepting one. Some people in my country have been sufficiently inhospitable to a foreigner to make him believe it advisable to change places with his own servant. Presumably, this was done in order to obtain tolerance and peace. Surely the least I can do is to see that his stay on these shores is a tolerable one.
Girls, I imagine most of you are planning to go out to a party or a dance on New Year's Eve, or perhaps just spend a quiet evening with friends. Naturally, you want your hair to look its best. So why not follow this beauty tip from those divinely beautiful Powers models?
We wash our hair with Kreml shampoo. This amazing beautifying shampoo has been especially developed to actually glamour bathe each tiny strand of hair, revealing all its natural glossy luster.
And so many women tell me how wonderful Kreml shampoo is for washing children's hair.
Well, you can readily see why. Because Kreml shampoo is so mild and gentle on the hair. Its luxurious active foam removes all loose dandruff as well as the dirt.
Girls, if only you could see how Powers model's hair fairly radiates natural glossy highlights, I'm sure you'd want to try Kreml shampoo right away. You can buy a bottle at any drug counter. Kreml, Kreml shampoo. Now, Dr. Watson, what about next week?
Well, Mr. Bell, next week I think I'll tell you a story I call the Darlington Substitution Case. It's a strange story how Holmes saved a prominent British peer from scandal and disgrace by exercising the judgment of Solomon.
Tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure was suggested by an incident in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's story, The Mazarin Stone. Nigel Bruce appeared by permission of California Pictures. Tom Conway through the courtesy of Eagle Lion Pictures. Now, Dr. Watson, how about your new Sherlock Holmes story, The Adventure of the Scarlet Worm?
Well, Mr. Bell, that singular affair took place in Paris. I suppose the story really began on an October evening in Baker Street, a long, long time ago. I'd been more than usually busy with my practice that day, and I returned to our lodgings shortly after 9, I remember. As I entered the living room, Sherlock Holmes was seated at his side table, clad in his dressing gown and working hard over a chemical investigation. A large curved retort was boiling furiously in the bluish flame of a Bunsen burner. Finally, he brought a test tube containing a solution over to the table. In his right hand, he held a slip of litmus paper.
You come at a crisis, Watson. If this litmus paper remains blue, all is well. If it turns red, it means a man's life.
Good Lord Holmes, really?
Aha. As I thought, it turns red. And now to send a telegram to Scotland Yard, and I need have no further connection with the case.
Well, you didn't tell me that you were working on a new case, Holmes?
It was a shoddy little affair, my dear Watson. An orthopedic shoemaker in Wapping became somewhat fretful with his wife. He added poison to her morning pot of tea and was stupid enough to leave a sample of the deadly brew. It was purely a routine matter. Let's forget it. You look tired, old chap.
Yes, Holmes.
I hope you won't be too tired to accompany me to Paris tomorrow.
To Paris? Why?
This afternoon I received a very rare visitor in these rooms, my brother Mycroft. All is not well at the Foreign Office. They need our help.
Well, what's wrong, Holmes?
An international spy ring is at work. In the past few months, important secrets have leaked out. Vital secrets that might bring this country to the verge of war.
Oh, gracious me.
2 of the Foreign Office's brightest young men have committed suicide rather than divulge how they betrayed their trust. Mycroft tells me he has reason to suspect a beautiful and dangerous young lady in Paris who inspired these men, a loyalty even above patriotism.
And they want you to try and trap her, is that it?
No, Watson. They want us.
Oh, us?
Mycroft and I agreed that you would be perfect bait to use in such a trap.
Bait? It sounds like a piece of cheese.
Only metaphorically, Watson. You must agree that your imposing appearance, your open countenance and hearty manner would attract the attention of any female spy.
Yes, I see what you mean, but you're right.
In any case, we shall make you doubly desirable by entrusting you with certain invaluable naval secrets.
Master, Holmes, master, you will entrust me with utterly worthless documents, spread the story that they're valuable, and wait for the woman to approach me.
Precisely. I shall accompany you as a bodyguard, but leave you largely to your own devices. Yes, Watson, I have high hopes of this trip to Paris. With you as the worm and me as the hook, I think we may snare this evil loveliness.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, you have shown me your credentials and explained your mission.
We are aware of this firing. We are on constant watch. But I think you would have done better to have stayed in your own country. We of the Paris police are perfectly capable of handling such an affair ourselves, I assure you. Inspector Rigaud, the fact remains that 2 foreign office men died here under sinister circumstances.
That's the business, you know. British officials.
Monsieur, I myself investigated the deaths. They were both self-inflicted. We of the Deuxième Bureau cannot fathom the mind of a suicide. Quite. But I doubt if the deaths were coincidental. Surely there must be some connecting link between them, Inspector. The only facts I can give you, Monsieur, are these. Both men frequented an American-owned gambling casino in Montmartre. The name of it, please? Slater's on Rue Fontaine. The only other fact I can give you is that both the dead men were seen there in the company of a certain Mademoiselle Elvira.
That must be the woman that Mycroft spoke of.
Can you describe her, Inspector? Oh, what a woman. Though she is very young, princes have jeweled for her favors.
What?
At the moment, a high official of the Banque de France lies in a prison cell because he appropriated funds that he lavished on her. She's a femme fatale, messieurs. But she is as elusive as the wind. Well, Watson, our first move is obvious. Tonight we shall visit Slater's gambling casino on the Rue Fontaine and try our luck.
I say, Holmes, this is all rather exciting, isn't it? Paris at night. We're on our way to an American gambling casino in the hopes of meeting a beautiful young spy named Elvira. Just like a novel.
Quite. Incidentally, since the young lady apparently moves in high society, I think it would be wiser if we give you a more impressive name. A fictitious title, perhaps.
Oh, how about the title I used once before? Sir William Norton.
Splendid. Sir William Norton it shall be. And I trust that Sir William remembers the role he is to play.
Yes, indeed, Holmes. If I do meet the young lady, I'm to appear very susceptible to her beauty.
Not too hard for you, I imagine.
And I'm to drop dark hints about the valuable secrets that I carry.
Precisely, Watson. And if the lady proves as intrigued as I hope she will, you will follow the matter through to its logical conclusion.
Logical conclusion, Holmes. Yes, I don't quite know how to take that.
Ah, here's the casino. Courage, Watson, and good luck.
Good evening. I'm Sam Slater. You gentlemen haven't been here before.
No, Mr. Slater. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is Sir William Norton.
How do you do, Sam?
Holmes? Sherlock Holmes, the detective? Not here drumming up business, I hope.
Oh, no. Just showing Sir William some of the sights of Paris.
Fine. Then relax and enjoy yourself, gentlemen. Forget your profession, Mr. Holmes. In Paris at night, there's no crime. Or if there is, the police are conveniently blind to it. Glad to have you.
Oh, nice place, Holmes. I think perhaps I'll take a little flush at the tables.
Pardon, monsieur. You wish to speak to me, sir?
Yes. I could not help but overhear Slater mention your name. It is a great honor to meet Sherlock Holmes. Permit me to introduce myself. I am Andre Flandon.
How do you do? And this is Sir William Norton.
I flatter myself that perhaps you have heard of me. My poetry has been published in England.
No, Monsieur Flandon, I'm afraid it's escaped me.
You have not heard my verses? Étincelant, où s'arrange mon cœur. Charming, do you not think?
Quite. Though the metaphor seems a little involved, if you don't mind my saying so. What do you think, Sir William?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one language. That's English.
Bon. Then I shall recite a poem of mine in English translation.
Oh, monsieur. Monsieur Holmes, look at that stunning creature sitting by herself at the chemin de fer table. She's smiling at me.
Oh, you are fortunate, Sir William.
That is Mademoiselle Elvira.
Elvira? Oh, never heard of it.
And now, gentlemen, in translation, my poem begins. Grave as the grave, August as August heat.
Yes, I think I'll try my luck at the tables over there. I'll see you later, Holmes.
Much later, I hope, Sir William.
Sir William Norton, is it not?
Yes, it is. I can't think how you recognize me, Miss, Madam...
You may call me Elvira.
Elvira? Elvira? How do you know me?
Sam Slater told me who you were. He knows that I have a certain penchant for distinguished Englishmen.
That's extremely flattering. Perhaps you care to join me in a glass of champagne?
Oh, yes, I would like that. Let's sit at this table.
Thank you. Garçon! Garçon!
Oui, monsieur.
Deux champagne. Bon champagne, too. Oui.
You are here in Paris on business?
Yes, I'm important business. You see, I'm
handling an extremely delicate and confidential matter for the British government.
How very impressive. And I suppose you will be too busy to let me show you some of the sides of Paris.
Oh, no, I don't think so. All work, no play, you know. I'd be very flattered to escort you, but...
Oh, good. Then if we are to be friends, I can't go on calling you Sir William. I think I shall call you Willie. Do you mind?
Willie? I like it. Willie. Oh, yes, thank you. Mercy, mercy, mercy. I'll put it up, huh? Well, we must drink a toast, over.
I propose one to Willie, the man of mystery.
Oh, thank you, my dear. And I shall drink to Elvira and to our better acquaintance.
Good night, Willie. I shall see you tomorrow.
Yes, rather. How about breakfast?
It's nearly breakfast time now.
Oh, really? Really?
How about lunch?
Yes, of course, my dear.
Such an important mission for the British government. When will you attend to that?
Well, in a day or two, Elvira. Good night, my dear.
Come here, Willie. Closer. Good night.
What? You kiss me, you little darling. Thanks awfully.
You're doing splendidly, Watson. Splendidly. Keep it up.
Oh, she's a sweet little thing, Holmes. It's hard to believe that she's a spy. I told her that I was here on a secret and confidential mission. I even told her that I was carrying important naval plans. She didn't seem particularly interested.
Of course not. She's much too clever to use the clumsy approach. She'll work slowly. She'll wait until she thinks she's got you completely captivated before she goes after that secret.
Oh, then I'm just to carry on the way I did last night.
Yes, old chap.
Oh, good.
Wine her, dine her, send her flowers, buy her jewelry. Make her think you're head over heels in love with her. I suspect that you won't find the job too unpleasant.
Oh, I'm sure I shall. 3 days now, Vera. You've been showing me Paris, but this is the first time I've actually been in your flat.
You like it, Willie?
Very much.
I thought it would be much quieter here. At dinner, you said you were going to explain some of your important business to me. You were going to show me what a secret treaty looks like.
Yes, I know I said that, but a pretty girl like you wouldn't be interested in such matters.
Oh, but I would. You have the treaty with you?
Yes, I have.
Then please let me see it. Oh, please, Willie.
I can't go through with this masquerade any longer.
Masquerade? What do you mean?
Well, I've been really fond of you in these last few days, Elvira. I can't let you walk into a trap.
Trap? What are you talking about, Willie?
I'm not Willie. I'm not Sir William Norton. My name's Watson. Dr. John H. Watson. My closest friend is the detective Sherlock Holmes. We came to Paris to try and trap you. Oh, my dear girl, you're suspected of being mixed up in aspiring. Well, that's why I pose as an important embassy from England.
Trap? Are you bothering old fool?
Oh, no, don't.
I'll teach you about trap.
Elvira, put down that revolver.
No, I'm going to.
Oh, you're going to drop it, my dear.
I can't do it. I'm just a stupid, weak female after all. I've grown fond of you too. The bumbling old walrus.
Oh, Elvira.
You remind me of my father. He was such a sentimental old fool. Like you. Just as sweet.
Elvira, you're young. I know you don't really want to stay mixed up with a bunch of criminals.
No.
Now, look here. You tell Sherlock Holmes and me what you know about this firing. I promise you, my dear.
I've wanted to get out of it for months. It was rather glamorous and exciting at first, and they paid me well. But I hate them now. And yet when I told them to get away, they threatened me.
Well, we'll take care of you. Just tell us who's at the head of your
We'll take care of you.
That I don't know. But I can tell you a lot about some of the members.
That's splendid. And slip on your coat, a funny little bonnet, and we'll go over and talk to Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, and have him see me looking like this Oh, there you are, Red. Oh, no. You go and bring him here. By the time you get back, I'll be more presentable.
All right, Silver. I'll go and get him at once.
Watson, I'm occasionally astonished at the many facets to your character.
Oh, thank you very much, Holmes. It's nice of you to say so.
Your personal charm has apparently convinced a dangerous woman that crime does not pay. It's remarkable, if it's true.
What do you mean, if it's true?
Surely it must have occurred, even to a man burning with the zeal of one who has snatched a convert from the fiery flames, that this could be a trap for us to walk into. The delay while the young lady makes herself presentable would provide an excellent opportunity for her to summon her associate.
Oh, upon my soul, Holmes, you're utterly cynical. I don't believe you have a heart.
Possibly not, but I do have a head.
Oh, here's our place now. Stop, cabby, stop.
Arrête!
I'll bet you £100 to a shilling that she's still waiting for us and alone.
Long odds, Watson. Very long odds.
Look. The concierge is sweeping up the steps. He'll be able to tell us if anyone's been here since I left.
True. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir, monsieur.
Vous parlez anglais?
Yes, monsieur. Splendid fellow, Paul is over there. Look here, we were calling on Mademoiselle Elvira. Has anyone been to see her in the last half an hour? Oui, monsieur. A man. She left with him only 5 minutes ago. Though I do not think she wished to.
You mean that she was taken away by force?
Not exactly, monsieur. But I could swear on the Sacre Coeur that the man who accompanied her was holding a pistol to her back. You a minute. I think she has been, how you say?
Just a moment, we'll rejoin Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Every man who takes pride in his appearance should know that handsome, healthy-looking hair needs a hygienic scalp. That's why when you buy a hair tonic, be sure to get your money's worth. Don't settle for just any hairdressing when you can enjoy the extra advantages of Kreml hair tonic. This highly specialized hair tonic contains an amazing combination of hair grooming ingredients, which is found in no other hair tonic. Kreml keeps dry, stubborn, hair neatly in place all day, and always gives hair such a natural, well-groomed appearance, never sticky or greasy. But men, Kreml does lots more than Kreml leaves your scalp feeling alive and tingling. At the same time, itchy, loose dandruff. It's simply great to lubricate a dry scalp. And if your hair is so dry it breaks and falls when you comb it, Kreml actually helps condition the hair, in that it makes it feel softer, more pliable. So men of Kreml at any drug counter. Ask for an application at your barber shop. Let Kreml help keep your scalp hygienic. Your hair always looking handsome, always looking its very best. Kreml. Kreml Hair Tonic. Well, Dr. Watson, once again you left me on the edge of my chair. So when you went back to the girl's flat, she'd been kidnapped, What did you do next?
Well, fortunately, the concierge was able to give us a good description of the cab driver, and with the aid of Inspector Rigo, we were able to find the man and question him. He'd driven the couple, he told us, to a Val-Apache den in the alleys of Montmartre, a club known as the Scarlet Worm. Holmes and I, accompanied by the French inspector, lost no time in taking a cab to the place.
Monsieur, I should not permit you to visit Le Ver Écarlate, the Scarlet Worm, as you would say, without my protection. It is a cesspool of the underworld. Men have been known to enter there and make their exit by a back door. It burst into the sewer.
Lord, they've taken that poor little girl there.
Inspector Rigo, as I said, Mademoiselle Elvira told my friend that she does not know who is at the head of this organization. Have you any suspicions?
Yes, but little else, my friend. One thing, the brain behind these criminals is not French. Probably English.
An Englishman was sure enough.
Yeah. Le Ver Écarlate is waiting for us. Be on the alert, my friends.
No, the Sam Slater, the man who owns the casino we went to the other night.
Yes, and he seems to be involved in a violent argument.
Yeah, rattle like that.
No, sir, but you want you in here? Say your uncle and be stand.
Who's the man that Slater's arguing with, Inspector?
That is Chabert, the owner of this establishment.
Slater's leaving. I wonder what he was doing in a place like this.
Come here, speak to Chabert. Why not? Bonsoir, Chabert.
Bonsoir. I am honored with a visit from the inspector. Inspector, que voulez-vous?
Since when does a visitor from the Deuxième Bureau have to explain his business, Chabert? Tell me, why was Slater here? And why did you argue?
Sure. He comes here to try and hire some of my attache. He has trouble collecting his gambling debts. I speak of him as victims. But they can't stick to themselves. And not positive.
Let's sit at the table, shall we? Myself will be as unobtrusive as possible. I shall rejoin you in a moment, monsieur. I wish to make some investigation. Watson, you seem to be a positive magnet towards the fair sex. Look at this young lady heading for you.
Red hair, painted face. Not one touch, I'm afraid.
Bonsoir, monsieur. Voulez-vous m'offrir un petit?
Run along, young lady, and don't sit there.
Oh, no, Watson. Where's your chivalry? Please sit down, won't you?
Merci, monsieur. Pretend you don't recognize me.
Never saw you before in my life.
Whereas I've been keeping silence, Mademoiselle Elvira. Elvira, the wig is excellent and the use of makeup superb, Mademoiselle. But I recognized you at once by the confirmation of your earlobes.
Elvira, why are you disguised? Why'd they bring you here?
I cannot speak now. You must get me away at once. Be careful. I'm being watched. We can't leave by the front way, but I know a back staircase that leads from the cellar. But there may be trouble.
You take her, Watson. I'll guard the retreat. When the music starts again, dance with her. When you get to the back of the hall, slip out. I'll join you at the hotel.
Oh, look, Holmes. Look who's coming to our table. That ghastly poet fellow we met at the casino.
Andre Flandin. Pay no attention. I'll take care of him.
Once again, I meet my friend Sherlock Holmes. I have a new poem that I've composed in your special honor.
Dance, Watson, and good luck.
Right you are, Holmes. Come along, my dear. Come along.
Your friend, please. Au revoir. Now, I shall tell you my poem. It begins...
Elvira, my dear, I can't tell you how relieved I am to find you all right.
Don't look so serious. Pretend that I'm some girl that you don't know. Stop.
That's all right.
That's it. Now, back me toward that door in the corner. There we are. Now, let's slip through it. Follow me. There are stone stairs here.
Where did these lead?
To an alley. Careful. The stairs turn here.
Look out, there's a light coming up the steps towards us.
Shut it.
You did not think you could live so easily, did you, Elvira? I've been waiting for you.
Without his lantern.
Where's that pass?
Follow you. Run.
You were stuck.
Oh, we'll fire. How'd you like that, you filthy swine?
Watson, are you all right?
Yes, Holmes, I'm quite all right.
Then run, old chap. I'll take care of this end. See that the girl is safe.
Well, now that we're all safely back at the hotel, I can tell you, Holmes, that I hated leaving you in that filthy den.
Inspector Rigaud had a revolver. It's more efficient than... Inspector, it was a near thing, Monsieur Holmes. You fought bravely, and so did your recumbent friend on the sofa there.
Andre Flandin, the poet. I wondered why you brought him back here.
For a poet, he uses his fists with surprising skill.
He must be hurt. He seems to be unconscious.
I think he's suffering from the effects of a trifle too much absinthe. I haven't the heart to lead him. Ah, there you are, Mademoiselle Elvira. You're feeling no ill effects, I hope?
No, Mr. Holmes.
Splendid. Then now that we're all assembled, supposing you tell us your story. Who kidnapped you tonight?
It was one of Chabert's men. They made me disguise myself and swear never to see either of you again, on pain of death.
Instead of which we came to see you.
We knew that Robert was connected with this spies. Now he is safely under lock and key. But we still don't know who is at the head of this organization. Can you?
That the man you want was waiting in the cab that took Scarlet Worm. But he was masked and he never spoke.
Can't you recall anything that might give us a clue?
Oh, one incident, if it means anything. Chavez said to him, "We'll go to the Scarlet Worm, eh? That is good. You make worms, no?" And then he laughed.
He said this in French, of course?
Yes, he did.
Then the case is solved. I'm an idiot. I should have spotted it sooner.
The man you want, Inspector, is lying asleep on the... Look out! He's not asleep. Watson, he's got a revolver.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh!
He's gone to sleep again.
Really, Watson, you're in splendid form tonight. But, Monsieur Holmes, why do you say that man is the culprit? You yourself gave me the clue, Inspector, when you told me that the criminal was an Englishman posing as a Frenchman.
But you only met the fellow on 2 occasions, and then not for more than a few minutes.
It was long enough to realize that Fonder was really an Englishman. The first time we met him, he quoted a poem that he said was translated from the French. The translation was, August as August heat. The poem could not have been translated from the French because both of those puns are possible only in the English language.
But how did my conversation in the cab give you a clue, Mr. Holmes?
Because it was another. In French, the word for worms and for verses is the same. There, spelled V-R-S.
I see it now. When the man in the cab said worms, he also meant you make verses.
Precisely. Thereby pointed directly at the poet there. With Andre Flandin, or whatever his real name is, in prison, I'm sure Mycroft will have no more trouble with his pirate.
Now, Dr. Watson, I want to hear about the strange case of the persecuted millionaire.
Well, Mr. Bell, that adventure began in Baker Street on a grey November day at the turn of the century. Sherlock Holmes and I just finished our lunch, I remember, and were sitting each side of a blazing fire just like you and I are tonight. The great man, his feet thrust out before him, was lying back in his chair, his long, thin hair behind his head, and a curved pipe jutting up the corner of his mouth with a cloud of grey-blue smoke. After a few moments, I noticed that he was gazing at my boots with very marked attention.
But why Turkish, Watson?
Boots are English. I got them at Latimer's in Oxford Street.
And not the boots, the bath. Why the relaxing and expensive Turkish bath rather than the invigorating homemade article?
Oh, because for the last few days I've been having some nasty twinges of rheumatism. By the way, I'm sure the connection between my boots and the Turkish bath is perfectly obvious to Holmes, but I'm completely mystified.
You're in the habit of doing a... I observe that on this occasion they're tied. You have, therefore, had them off. Who has retied them? A bootmaker or the boy at the Turkish bath? But your boots are nearly new. Then what remains? The bath. Absurdly simple, isn't it?
When you explain it.
Come in. Yes, Mrs. Hudson.
It's a note for you, Mr. Holmes. A messenger boy just brought it.
Thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
Who's it from, Holmes?
I swear that only reigning royalty can be as presumptuous as an American business.
I shall be at your lodgings tomorrow. Be there. It's signed John V. Harden. Be there. Huh. Sounds an extremely arrogant fellow. What makes it?
The use of the initial for the middle name is peculiar to that country.
Oh. I do. It's at 2 o'clock now, Holmes.
Yes. Let's see what we can find out about the gentleman. Where's that Encyclopedia of American Biography? Ah, here it is. Say, Hanley, Hanson. Here's our man, Watson, John Vincent Harden.
What does it say about him?
Born in Chicago, 45 years old, unmarried. Chiefly noted for his tobacco interests and his addiction to fishing.
It's an odd combination.
And this is odder. He made his professional debut as a violinist 30 years ago. A millionaire musician.
Ah, that must be him now. Yes, there's a most impressive broom and pair outside.
And then, since my client is a violinist, I think I'll welcome him appropriately. Hand me my instrument, will you, old chap?
Holmes? Funny way to start a business.
Oh, must have. Mr. Harden sounds like an aggressive man. And music has charms to soothe.
Come in.
Mr. Harden to see you, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Hudson. Come in, Mr. Harden. I'm Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson.
How do you do? If we're to do business, Mr. Holmes, for heaven's sake, put that violin away. I heard you scraping away as I came up the stairs.
So you don't care for my friend's playing, sir?
I don't care for anyone's playing. I loathe the fiddle.
Curious.
I was under the impression... Listen, Mr. Holmes, I haven't come here to discuss your musical impressions. I've come here to talk about my personal safety. And my...
Pray talk about it, Mr. Harden.
I'm being persecuted. Somebody's trying to drive me crazy.
Really? Just what form does this persecution take, Mr. Harden?
Yeah, it began about a month ago. My horse ran away and ran me. Maybe it was an accident, maybe not. I've heard of burrs under saddles. And then, last night...
Something else happened?
Someone destroyed Methuselah.
Methuselah? An old retainer, Mr. Harden? Or a pet?
No. Methuselah was the finest, largest, oldest tarpon ever caught.
Stop, fish. You asked Sherlock Holmes? Why, Watson? I'm sure that a great deal more lies behind this. Please continue, Mr. Harden.
Everything was going fine, Mr. Holmes, until these persecutions started. Early this year, I bought a fine old house in Cavendish Place. I'm engaged to be married to Alicia Edwards, the Honorable Alicia Edwards. She's Lord Brentwood's daughter. My life was perfect until I began to get these notes.
What sort of notes, Mr. Harden?
They kept turning up in odd places. Under my pillows at night. I found them on the upholstery of my carriage.
You brought these notes with you?
Of course.
All in the same handwriting. And all the messages seem to have the same theme. Oh, what do they say, Holmes? The first one says, you thought he had no one to avenge him, didn't you? And this one says, you murdered him, you will pay for it. And this is curious. It will have blood. Say, blood will have blood. That quotation is from Macbeth. Oh, then that means the note was written by an Englishman. Not necessarily, Watson. It's possible that they've heard of Shakespeare in America, you know. Oh, it might have. Mr. Harden, all these messages... Yes. Can you think of anyone who might wish to kill you?
No, I can't. I've never hurt anyone, much less killed a person. The notes don't make any sense.
Do you recognize the handwriting?
I've never seen it before in my life.
You mentioned that your prize tarpon was mutilated. What members of your household might have had the opportunity of performing that act of vandalism?
3 people. My secretary, Margaret Bates, Stephen, my brother, and my fiancée. They were all at the house last night.
There seems to be a clear pattern to this case, Mr. Harden. I suggest that you return to your home and obtain for me samples of the handwriting of the 3 people you've mentioned. When I've examined those, I shall be in a better position to advise you in this matter. Holmes, you've spent 3 hours with a magnifying glass and those samples of handwriting that Mr. Harden brought back. It's quite curious. The handwriting of the threatening note seems to be that of a male with an American education. Oh, why do you say that? Observe this note. Who dies unavenged can never sleep with honor. You notice that honor is spelled without a U. That's the American way. Then that means that his fiancée didn't write them. She might have deliberately spelled it that way to remove suspicion from herself. No, I'm afraid these samples prove nothing. Then we're no nearer finding out who's responsible. Well, at least we've ruled out an obvious possibility. Yes, Mr. Hudson.
It's a telegram, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Better get your coat and hat, Watson. It's from Mr. Hart. He says, a worse blow has fallen. Come at once.
I'm Margaret Bates, Mr. Harden's secretary.
How do you do? What happened, Miss Bates? We left as soon as we received his wire.
I don't know what happened, Mr. Holmes, but I'm terribly worried. He rushed out here, dictated that telegram, and then went back and locked himself in the study. He says he'll see no one but you.
Hello, Margaret.
Oh, Stephen, you startled me.
What's the matter? Do you think I was listening at the keyhole?
Oh.
Introduce me to our visitors, won't you?
And this is Stephen, Mr. Harden's brother. Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
Sherlock Holmes and his friend, huh? I've heard about you. Don't tell me Brother John has fallen foul of the law.
No, sir. He needs its protection, I fear.
Don't be too sure. I'm thinking of taking him to court myself on a charge of woman stealing.
Your brother a kidnapper? Quick, stop.
No, Dr. Watson. It's perfectly legal. It's just that I saw Alicia Edwards first, but then, of course, I don't control the heart of millions.
Let's go to the study, shall we, Mr. Holmes?
An excellent idea. Perhaps we'll see you later, sir.
Perhaps. And don't take John too seriously.
Oh, he's hateful. Always making fun of John, his brother. And yet Stephen's never done a day's work in his life. This is the door to the study.
All right.
Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson are here.
Good.
Come in. Thank you, Mother.
I'll see you gentlemen later.
What form did the new attack take, Mr. Harden?
This time it's theft. My safe was rifled last night.
What was stolen, sir?
An extremely valuable document. It was the key to my agreement with the British Tobacco Trust. The loss of the paper represents $1 million to me. That isn't what upsets me most. Money I can afford to lose, but my sanity is more valuable. In the safe, I found another note, Holmes.
May I see it, please?
Here.
The coffin is made, the funeral parlor is ready, the time is ripe. The croaking raven doth bellow for revenge. Oh, what a frightening message. And once again observe the odd combination of Shakespeare and American idiom. Funeral parlor is what we refer to as an undertaker's, and the croaking raven comes from Hamlet.
Holmes, I'm not a weak man. I'm frightened. You've got to protect me.
I shall do my best, Mr. Harden. Who was here last night?
My secretary, Margaret Bates, my fiancée. She went back to London this morning.
I met your brother, Stephen, just now. I noticed that he was carrying a valise. Was he leaving the house or returning to it?
Returning. He went out of town last night.
Oh, then that rules him out. Not until we investigate his alibi, Watson. Mr. Harden, I'm a reader of the Times. The engagement of a peer's daughter to a prominent American would be striking news. And yet I've read nothing about it.
We're announcing it formally tomorrow. I'm giving a party at Claridge's to celebrate the event.
Then I think it would be a wise precaution if Dr. Watson and I attended that party.
I was about to suggest the same thing, Holmes. I need to have men about me I can trust. I think this is a deliberate plot to drive me mad. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I want you to meet my fiancée, Miss Alicia Edwards. Alicia, my dear.
Miss Alicia.
I want to introduce Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
How do you do? May I congratulate you on your engagement? Yes, indeed. A union between the old world and the new is an encouraging sign of the times.
I wish you could convince Papa of that, Mr. Holmes. Whenever he meets John, he always behaves as if he expected him to be wearing feathers and carrying a scalping knife.
Feathers and a knife. That's very funny.
I don't find it so. Excuse me. I want to talk to the officer.
Dear me, now I've upset John again. He's ridiculously sensitive. Americans are really rather touchy.
And yet you're going to marry one?
Papa's estates have eaten up a lot of money, and that's a commodity with which John seems well endowed. I think you understand me, Mr. Holmes.
I'm sure I do. Personally, I may say that I'm always glad to meet an American. I'm one of those who believe that the folly of a monarch and the blundering of a minister in far-gone years should not now stand between two nations.
Mr. Holmes, I find you pompous and dull. Goodbye.
Oh, my soul, what an unpleasant, heartless young woman. She's obviously marrying Harden for his money. Obviously. Though I don't think she has an aversion to all Americans. Oh? Why do you say that? She has been dancing with Mr. Harden's brother, Stephen, most of the evening. At this moment, he joins at the door and... together. Scott, you think that she...
I don't understand what it is.
Hello? Happening up there on the orchestra. John Harden, he's arguing with one of the violinists.
I won't take any more of it.
Look! He snatched the instrument out of his hand.
Get out of here. You're not fit to fiddle at an Irish wake. I'll play you. The rest of you, go on, play.
He's behaving like a madman. He's rushing after him, the musician, and brandishing the violin and thinking he's going to brain him with it. Yes, Watson. But that quarrel with the violinist was not a totally sane act. If the anonymous correspondent's motive is to undermine Harden's reasons, he may be succeeding. Who has... He's obviously jealous of the girl, and he probably next in line for $500,000. But I checked his alibi for last night.
He was out of town.
Stop the music! Stop! Hey!
What's the devil's on now?
Oh, where are you?
Here I am, Mr. Hardin. Well, come with me at once. What's wrong, sir?
Alicia, I found her in the corridor. She's been strangled.
I don't know. Things are happening
We'll
fast.
find out what happens next in the strange case of the...
I don't even know who's still alive in this episode.
Hair specialists constantly advise us to take better care.
It's got to be
of
the old
hair
man.
we've got. And men, don't forget that if you want your hair handsome and healthy looking, one of the first requirements is a hygienic scalp. So why settle for just any hairdressing when you can enjoy the extra advantages of this highly specialized Kreml hair tonic? Kreml contains a unique combination of hair grooming ingredients which is found in no other hair preparation. It keeps hair attractively groomed at all times, looking so neat and orderly. But Kreml does lots more than keep hair looking handsome. A Kreml massage stimulates circulation right in the surface of your scalp and leaves your scalp feeling so alive and invigorated, as fresh as a daisy. At the same time, Kreml removes dandruff flakes. It's excellent to lubricate a dry scalp. And if your hair is so dry that it breaks and falls when you comb it, Kreml actually helps condition the hair in that it makes it feel softer, more pliable. So men, take better care of the hair you've got. Buy a bottle of Kreml at any drug counter. Ask for an application at your barber shop. Use Kreml daily for better groomed hair, for a more hygienic scalp. Kreml.
Kreml.
Hair tonic. Well, Dr. Watson, so the Honorable Alicia Edwards had been strangled at her engagement party. What happened next?
Well, I tried first aid, Mr. Bell, and found the girl was not dead. We rushed her to the hospital, and a few hours later, we were able to talk to her, but we found that she could give us no clue. When we left the room, Hardin was waiting for us in the corridor.
How is she? Is she going to be all right?
Oh, don't worry, Mr. Hardin. She'll be all right, but she had a very narrow escape.
But why attack her? Why not me?
The pattern becomes increasingly clear, Mr. Hardin. Your enemy has struck at your fishing, your business, and now at your fiancé. So every blow is at your wealth and position.
And my salary. Mr. Holmes, you've got to find out who's behind all this.
On the occasion of the mutilation of the fish, 3 people had the opportunity. Your brother Stephen is clear on the second attack, and on this last one, I think we may reasonably assume that your fiancé did not strangle her.
Yes, I'll wager my medical reputation on that fact.
And that means that only one person who was present on all 3 occasions was... No, you can't mean...
Your secretary, Mr. Bates? Where is she?
In the waiting room.
Splendid. Then Dr. Watson and I will take her back to Baker Street. I have an idea that she can be of invaluable help to us.
A little more tea, Miss Bates?
No, thank you, Dr. Watson.
Then please go on with your story.
As I was saying, Mr. Holmes, I've known John, Mr. Hardin, all my life. My father was the Hardin coachman. And as I grew up, I thought John Vincent Hardin was the most wonderful man in the world.
Well, I imagine that he was quite different then, my dear.
Very different. He was young and romantic, and he loved music. He took violin lessons, and it turned out that he was a prodigy.
I understand that he made his professional debut at the age of 13.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. I was only a little girl then. But he used to tell me that he wasn't John Vincent Hardin, the heir to the tobacco millions. He was Giovanni Vincenti, the great violinist.
Giovanni Vincenti? Odd. Pray continue, Miss Bates.
For 5 years, it seemed that he would be a great musician. Then, on his 18th birthday, his father gave him a lecture on his family obligations, told him that it was his duty to go into the business. John broke his violin across his knee, Mr. Holmes, and he's never played since.
Miss Bates, I don't need to be a detective to deduce that you love him.
Of course I do. Or at least, I love Giovanni Vincenti. And maybe he's still there. Somehow. Somewhere.
Of course. I've been an idiot. A numbskull.
What do you mean, Holmes?
The case is solved. Come, Miss Bates. We must return to Mr. Hardin as fast as we can. I only hope we're not too late.
But why doesn't he answer? The servant said he locked himself in the study again.
Door's locked. I don't like the look of this. Come on, Watson. We'll break it in. Once more.
Look! He's lying crumpled over his desk.
There's a revolver beside him, Holmes. Miss Bates, please leave us. My friend's a doctor. He'll take care of him. He's only wounded. Yes. Just grazed his scalp.
Oh, thank heavens. I'll be waiting outside.
Obviously, this is attempted suicide. They finally succeeded in driving him mad. Did they? Read this note line here. It's in the same handwriting as the other messages. I might try to fool another detective, but not you, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I admit I shot John Vincent Harden. I'm sure you'll have no difficulty discovering how I escaped from the locked room. Good Lord. You will observe that the note was written and blotted on this desk. Watson, I'll see to getting Mr. Harden to bed and summoning his own doctor. I want you to return to Baker Street. Baker Street? Why? Though the case is solved, I have some heavy thinking to do, and I must do it here. So be a good fellow and go back to our lodgings and get me 2 ounces of shag tobacco. And my violin. How are you feeling now, Mr. Harden?
Weak, Holmes. But I'm all right.
You still can't remember anything, sir?
No, I felt half out of my mind since that attack was made on Alicia. They told me she'd be all right. I too faintly remember coming home from the hospital and locking myself in the study. Oh, the rest is a blank. What did happen, Mr. Holmes?
I'll give you the complete answer very shortly, Mr. Harden. Come on, Watson. Very well. Try and rest, Mr. Harden. You've been through quite an ordeal.
I'll try. I'll try.
Holmes, you left your violin in Harden. I meant to. And in the meanwhile... Well, she's down here in the sitting room. Yes. And Brother Stevens with her.
First to know the good news, Margaret.
And may we inquire what the good news is, sir?
Oh, didn't see you fellas coming down the stairs. Well, there's why you shouldn't hear it, too. I've just come from the hospital. Alicia's broken off her engagement to John. She's going to marry me.
Indeed. My congratulations. Yes, sir, but I suggest you don't tell your brother the news. He's a very sick man.
Oh, I won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to celebrate.
From the sparkle in your eye, Miss Bates, I can see that you're just as excited as Stevens is.
Of course I am. But tell me, Mr. Holmes, have you found out who attacked John?
Yes, Miss Bates. At last I'm Vincent Harden's enemy. On the incident of the mutilated fish, you or Stevens or Alicia might have been guilty. On the stolen document, you or Alicia. And on the attack on that lady, you or Stevens, which seemed to leave only you.
But I was having tea with both of you in Baker Street when John was shot.
Precisely. As perfect an alibi as I've ever known. And no one person was responsible. There must have been accomplices. No, Watson. Oh, sir. Remember another fact. The note, supposedly written after the attempted murder, was blotted at the very desk which the wounded man was slumped over. Isn't it clear? Frankly, no. The persecutor and the would-be murderer of John Vincent Harden is Giovanni Vincenti. But they're one and the same man. Miss Bates told us so. They were the same. The dominant part of his character into annihilation. When he destroyed his violin, he thought he had destroyed Giovanni Vincenti. But his alter ego was still dormant. Yes. And after the shock of the writing accident in Rotten Row, Giovanni Vincenti emerged, hunting for revenge.
You mean that poor John really has a dual personality?
Here. No one person seemed to have the opportunity of committing all the attacks. But we left one person off our list. John Vincent. Why, Holmes? For heaven's sake, why? Giovanni Vincenti struck at the fish, the document, and at the fiancée. All symbols of what Harden had gained for himself. Finally, he attacked Harden's life.
But Mr. Holmes, what will happen now? He's out of his mind. That he won't send him to an asylum, will they?
I think not, Miss Bates. This self-inflicted wound on the skull may cure him. Don't you agree, Watson?
Yes, I do. It's perfectly possible there'll be a complete reintegration of personality.
Listen.
It's John, and he hasn't been for ages.
So that's why you left your violin in his room.
Exactly. Now,
Whoa, this is Fight Club type
John
stuff.
Vincent Harden are again one man, one whole, and I trust he may create a new life for himself. And I'm convinced that he has here the woman who will help him.
Now, Dr. Watson, how about this venerable deed and the adventure of Moultrie Abbey?
Well, Mr. Bell, that's a December afternoon many, many years ago. Sherlock Holmes, who'd been pacing up and down our room, stopped at the window and looked intently out at the street below it. After a few moments, my curiosity overcame me and I joined my old friend. Looking over his shoulder, I saw that on the pavement opposite there stood a young woman dressed in the height of Edwardian fashion. She wore a fur boa and a broad-brimmed hat, from under which she peeked up in a nervous, hesitating fashion at our windows, while her body oscillated backward and forward. Suddenly, with a plunge like the swimmer who leaves the bank, she hurried across the road and we heard the clang of our front door bell. Took her a long enough time to make up her mind, and Holmes?
Yes, Watson. I've seen those symptoms before in women. Oscillation on the pavement generally means an affaire du cœur. She would like advice, but is not too delicate for communication.
Oh, she looked a pretty little thing. Scoundrels jilted her.
Oh, no, Watson. In such a case, the usual symptom is a broken bell wire. Here, I think we may deduce the young lady is not so much angry as grieved or perplexed. Why not meet her at the head of the stairs, old chap? I know Mrs. Hudson's rheumatism is bothering her.
Yes, of course I will. This way, young lady. It's all right, thank you, Mrs. Hudson. I'm Dr. Watson. Want to come along in?
Thank you, Dr. Watson.
This is my friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
How do you do?
How do you do? I'm Sybil Carter, and I need your help.
Please be seated, Miss Carter. I presume it is Miss, since I see no ring on your wedding finger.
Yes, it's Miss. Though that awful man, Jonathan Davis, would like to make it Mrs.
Oh, I can quite understand any man who wants to...
Quiet, Watson.
Oh, sorry.
Please tell me your problem, Miss Carter.
Well, I can tell you in 2 words, gentlemen. Jonathan Davis wanted to marry me, and that was bad enough. But even to save the Moultrie fortunes, I couldn't marry him. Now he wants Harold to leave the country and disappear. And when we think of the Abbey and the tenants, what can we do? I know that my brother's dead set against outside interference, but tonight is when we play the music. And if only you could be there.
Oh, that's considerably more than 2 words, mister. I'm afraid I can't make head or tail of any of it.
Nor can I. Supposing you begin again and talk more slowly.
Oh, very well, Mr. Holmes.
Perhaps it'll be better if I ask questions. You mention your brother's title. May I ask what that title is?
My brother's Harold Carter, the 14th Earl of Moultrie, and the poorest. Confidentially, we're in a dreadful way financially. Harold invested in Canadian copper last year. The market dropped recently, we were nearly wiped out. That's when this awful Jonathan Davis came on the scene.
And who is Jonathan Devers?
Oh, he's a cousin of ours from South Africa. He's a dreadful bore, but extremely wealthy.
And he wants to...
For the sake of the Abbey and the Moultrie fortunes, I couldn't do that. Now he's offered Harold £50,000 in cash if he'll go abroad and pretend to disappear. You see, Jonathan Devers is next of male kin in line for the inheritance.
So Mr. Devers is trying to bribe your brother to disappear so that he may inherit the title and estates?
Yes, Holmes.
In this particular matter, I fail to see how I can help you.
Oh, but you can, Mr. Holmes. You see, the first Earl of Moultrie, he was created by Henry VIII, you know, left a family motto. It's inscribed in our private chapel at the Abbey. It says, "If the Moultries be in need, seek the venerable Bede."
Beadle, some fellow who works...
Bede, Watson, not Beadle.
Oh, Bede.
Yes, spelled B-E-D-E.
Oh, B-D.
The Venerable Bede, if I'm not mistaken, was an 8th century monk who is revered not only as a saint, but as the first great English historian.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. We have a statue of him in the chapel, and then we have a family custom that... Oh, I know this may sound silly to you.
Don't worry, Miss Carter. I'm aware that some of these old, crusted superstitions often conceal surprising truths. Pray continue.
Well, it's been passed down in the family that if ever the Moultries were in trouble, they should play a very peculiar piece of music which he composed.
Piece of music? What an odd idea.
Extremely interesting. And you're planning to play the music tonight, you say?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. Heaven alone knows the Moultries couldn't be in worse trouble than they are now. And I want you to be there. Only Harold doesn't. So I thought, if you bring your violin, I could pretend that you would just come to hear the music.
An excellent idea, Miss Carter. As I remember, Moultrie Abbey, Gloucestershire.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, at Chipping Martin. An express leaves Paddington at 5:30. Perhaps we could travel together?
Certainly.
It seems like a wild goose chase, Holmes. 8th century monk and strange music. Sounds like a lot of mumbo-jumbo to me.
Where's your chivalry, Watson? In any case, surely you recall the singular affair of the Musgrave ritual? There's no telling what these old family customs may portend. So be a good fellow and pack your bag. There's no time to be lost.
Time to show you the chapel before dinner, gentlemen.
Thank you, Lord Carter.
And after dinner, I shall be happy to gratify your musical curiosity, Mr. Holmes. But you mustn't regard my sister's visit today too seriously. Sybil's an overly emotional girl. And quite frankly, I wish we hadn't approached you. I feel that Moultrie Abbey is my duty. I'll find some to save it, and my tenants.
I trust that the music will live up to its magical reputation. Well, this is the chapel.
That's a beautiful building. Must be very old.
Or 16th century. The Abbey House was built nearly 100 years later. Hold your lantern a little higher, Dr. Watson. That's it. Now, I want to show you a prized possession. There you are. Magnificent. Quite magnificent. This, I presume, is the statue of the Venerable Bede that your sister spoke of. Yes. It's an excellent specimen of 16th century wood carving. The delicate work on the beads of the rosary. Odd. Very odd indeed.
What's odd, Holmes?
The fact that the...
How many times I have to tell you to keep away from me, you filthy scum? Don't you take your whip to me, sir? I'm not doing nothing.
Come on.
Come, find your evidence. Take that. Oh! Whip on me!
Jonathan, what's the matter?
Harold, I demand that you discharge this groom of
Don't
yours.
you
You can't whip me, Mr. Devers. I'll have your blood for this, I will.
Well, what's he done, Jonathan?
He's been following me. Twice today I bumped into him in the grounds. Not half an hour ago I was taking a walk by the bottom of this tarn, and I found him skulking behind me. Now I bumped into him speaking after me here. I say you must discharge him, Harold.
He was only hired today. I suppose you're right. Wilson, you may collect a week's wages and leave in the morning.
I wasn't doing no harm. Trying to deliver a telegram. That's why I came here. Is one of you gents Mr. Sherlock Holmes?
I am he.
Then this telegram come for you. I was only trying to find you when South Africans like Robert Dawson. Oh, I'll have your blood to see if I don't.
That's enough. Clear up. I'm sorry, Jonathan. Oh, by the way, this is Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Mr. Jonathan Devers.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mr. Devers?
Yes. Sybil told me that you were having distinguished company at your musical soiree tonight. How are you, gentlemen? Excuse me. We'll see you at dinner, no doubt.
Sybil, that one
Right.
the groom was half his size.
Mr. Devers mentioned that he was walking by an hour ago. It's a lake on the estate, just behind the gamekeeper. Why, there's a legend that it's fathomless. All I know is that some years ago a prize heifer of mine was seen to fall in and drown. We dragged the lake, but no grappling hooks we could obtain touched the bottom. Interesting.
Holmes, the telegram that fellow brought you.
Oh, yes, the telegram. Give me the lantern, Watson. Thanks. An extremely illuminating message. Read it for yourself, Lord Carter. Oh, it says nothing but my cousin's name, Jonathan Devers. And yet the message is quite eloquent. It is an answer to a query I made before leaving London. Who forced that market drop in Canadian copper which wiped out the Moultrie fortunes? You mean that Jonathan deliberately smashed me, Holmes? It would seem obvious.
Yes, it's perfectly clear that Devers covets the title and stop at nothing to get it.
What the devil am I going to do? We must wait to dinner and hope that the musical composition may give us a solution to your unhappy problem.
that Sybil's played that rather dull piece of discordancy. I hope you're all satisfied. Naturally, the Moultrie fortunes will be restored. Very funny, Jonathan.
What do you make of it, Mr. Holmes?
It's curious. Very curious. Will you repeat that principal theme again, please, Miss Carter?
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Miss Carter. I think I begin to get a glimmering of the mysterious message.
Yeah, best if I do. Sounds like a jumble of meaningless notes to me.
No, my friend thinks that he saved the Moultrie fortunes. In that case, Harold, I suppose you won't need to see Mr. Alexander in London tomorrow.
Why, how did you know that?
That your solicitor planned to start bankruptcy proceedings at the latest tomorrow? I, too, have my investigators. They seem a bit more efficient than your great Sherlock Holmes. Good night, Sybil. Good night, gentlemen. There you are again. What are you doing, listening at the door, you filthy swine?
I was just going to the kitchen.
Get to this table where you belong. If I see that groom again, Harold, I'll break his neck. See you tonight.
How dare he speak to you like that, Harold? He's not master here.
Not yet, Sybil. But I can't hold on to the place much longer, and he knows it.
He's a thoroughly unpleasant scoundrel.
Mr. Holmes, you said the music gave you some clue to the message?
It did, Miss Carter. But it requires thought and a certain amount of musical experimentation. I doubt if this music room would welcome the consumption of an ounce or two of shag tobacco. I think, therefore, that Watson and I will retire to our own room. With the aid of a pipe and my violin, I shall give the matter undivided attention. And tomorrow, Moultrie Abbey will go into receivership.
Not while Sherlock Holmes is on the case.
Thank you, Watson. A man of my peculiar modesty needs your constant. Then why not go to sleep, my dear?
How can I when you keep scraping away that wretched fiddle? Rather rubbish. Where'll get you? Oh, yeah. I'm going to sleep.
When the Moultries are in need, seek the venerable bee.
Music will solve the Moultries' problems. You can't win me, Mr. Devers. I'll have your blood for this, I will.
Too bad that your solicitor is starting bankruptcy proceedings tomorrow.
You must help us. You must.
When the Moultries are in need, seek the venerable bee.
I've got it. Watson, wake up, wake up.
What's the matter? What's up, Holmes?
The musical message. Before the night is through, I think we shall find the secret of Moultrie Abbey.
In just a moment, we'll rejoin Sherlock Holmes and discover just what that secret is. Leading hair specialists in the country constantly advise us to take better care of the hair we've got. And men, don't forget that if you want your hair handsome and healthy looking, one of the first requirements is a hygienic scalp. And why settle for just any hairdressing when you use the Kreml hair tonic? Kreml is a highly specialized hair tonic which gives you your money's worth. It contains a unique combination of hair grooming ingredients which is found in no other hair preparation. It keeps hair attractively groomed at all times, looking so neat and orderly. But Kreml does lots more than keep hair looking handsome. A Kreml massage stimulates circulation right in the surface of your scalp and leaves your scalp feeling so alive and invigorated. At the same time, Kreml removes dandruff flakes. And it's excellent to lubricate a dry scalp. And if your hair is so dry that it breaks off and falls when you comb it, Kreml actually helps condition the hair in that it makes it feel softer and more pliable. So men, take better care of the hair you've got. Buy a bottle of Kreml at any drug counter. For an application at your barber shop. Use Kreml Daily for better groomed hair for a more hygienic scalp. Kreml, Kreml Hair Tonic. Well, Dr. Watson, I'm just as confused as I'm sure you must have been when Sherlock Holmes awakened you. What was the musical message?
Supposing I tell you the story in its actual sequence, Mr. Bell. I quickly dressed, and in the moonlight, Holmes and I stealthily crept down the corridor to Lord Carter's room. A few moments later, the three of us, carrying lanterns, started down the staircase leading to the main hall. Holmes, as we went into Lord Carter's room, I'm sure, absolutely certain that I saw another door down the corridor half open and then closed.
Which door was it?
The last one on the right.
Oh, that's Jonathan Dever's room.
I suppose he knows what we're up to, which I must confess is more than I do.
Well, if I'm right, not even Devers can stop us now. Serious, Holmes. Will you tell me why we're heading for the chapel at 2 in the morning? In a few moments, I shall make the reason extremely clear to you, I hope.
Well,
Here's the door.
Look. Through the stained glass windows over there. I swear there's someone with a lantern in the grounds outside.
Our immediate problem is here, inside. Focus your lantern on the statue of the Venerable Bede, Watson. That's where the answer to the mortuary legend lies, I think. For heaven's sake, Holmes, I wish we'd be more explicit. Very well. Let me see if I can whistle those notes written in the musical theme. The notes are B, E, D, E, B, E, A, D. These notes were followed by a rhythmically repeated series of the note D 4 times. That becomes clear.
Well, the notes B, E, D, E, obviously the Venerable Bede, and we're standing in front of a statue here now.
The 4 notes are B, E, A, D. You yourself pointed out the rosary on the Venerable Bede's, Lord Carter. The notes B, E, A, D must refer to the beads of the rosary. That's why I became suspicious on first seeing the statue. The rosary did not come into use till almost 5 centuries after the Venerable Bede. Yet, his statue had one.
Then what does the repetition of the note D 4 times mean after the melody?
I think it gives us the vital clue. D is the 4th letter in the alphabet, and it's repeated 4 times. Let's see what happens when we press the 4th B on the Venerable Bede's rosary. So, by George, I think you're on the right track, Holmes.
You are. Look at that section of wall behind the font. It's slid back.
Come on, let's see what it takes us to.
There's a narrow stone staircase leading below.
Well, I'll go first. Holmes, perhaps you have saved the mortuary fortunes. I hope so, Lord Carter, I hope so. Watch your head, Watson.
Oh, must have built these steps for pygmies. Holmes, do you suppose we'll find any hidden treasure down here?
I shall suppose nothing, Watson. In a few moments, there will be no need for conjecture.
Holmes, I'm afraid we've drawn a blank.
What's wrong, Lord Carter?
Look for yourself.
Deserted crypt? Nothing but a few cobwebby old relics.
Yes. A crucifix, a Bible, a gutted candlestick on the table here.
Oh, they may have some small intrinsic value, but nothing else. Oh, I was a fool to have any hopes. I was expecting to find buried treasure. Wait a minute. Something, possibly the treasure, has recently been removed from here.
Oh, what makes you say that, Holmes?
The room is thick with dust, and yet there's a large rectangular space free from dust on the table, as though a heavy folio volume had recently been lying there. By George, you're right, Holmes. And look here on the floor. Fresh footprints. Yes, someone has recently anticipated our discovery.
It's not very hard to guess who that someone was. Jonathan Devers.
Aha! Observe these curious marks on the floor by the table. 4 round dots, rectangularly spaced. I should say that a Gladstone bag has been placed there. A bag that was undoubtedly used to remove the treasure.
Why, Holmes? Why carry off a heavy book in a bag?
Supposing that book were of priceless value, Watson. Suppose it were its discovery by the rightful owner might say. And I'm sure that Devers is quite capable of stealing it. The question is, though, what would he do with it precisely? And to answer that question, I shall try and imagine myself in the shoes of Mr. Devers. I'm a millionaire, though I don't need the treasure. Too risky to sell it anyway. Destroy it. But how? I have little opportunity to burn it. Difficult with a heavy book in any case. So I'm looking for some place to dispose of it where it may never be recovered. The fathomless lake on this is
the face, the bottomless tarn.
Of course. Remember the devil told us earlier that he'd been walking by this evening?
Then let's go there as fast as we can. I can only pray that we're not too late.
Look. There in the moonlight. It's Jonathan Devers. He's running towards the edge of the lake.
Yes, and he's carrying a Gladstone bag. Run faster than he can. You have your revolver once again?
Yes, I have.
Don't hesitate to use it. This devil's work must be stopped. Come on, faster. Oh, we'll never catch him. He's at the edge of the tunnel.
Drop that bag, Mr. Devers.
You're too late, my friend.
Drop it or I'll shoot.
I'll drop it in the bottomless tarn. There. Good flight of the traitor of the mountain trees.
You devil. You ruined. I'll have the law on you for this. You're a common thief.
I don't know how you prove it, Harold. That was my own Jackson bag, and I dropped it in the tarn. You don't even know what was inside it.
But here comes the man who can tell us.
Well, it's Wilson, the group fellow you discharged, Lord Carter.
What are you doing here, Wilson? What's that book you're carrying?
I've just done what Mr. Sherlock Holmes told me to, sir. I was following Mr. Devers. When he put down that bag and went off to get his coat before coming out here, I thought there might be something valuable in it. I took out this book, and I filled it back with a few rocks.
No, you won't, Devers. Or you'll end up in the tarn where you belong. Let me see the book, Wilson.
Hey, I'll get that.
Thank you. Hold the lantern a little higher, Watson. That's it. These faded pages are written in monkish Latin of the 8th century, and the hand is of the same period. Unless all my researches on the datings of documents are valueless, they must be, the original manuscripts of the devil himself.
Good Lord, then they're absolutely priceless.
And that means Mr. Devers will have the privilege of inspecting the
Rubbish. What charge could you make?
common theft, burglary.
The proof will depend on the word of that filthy groom there. And who's going to believe the oath of a servant with a grudge over the word of a South African millionaire?
I
Very
think
true.
it's high time that this filthy groom disclosed his true identity.
All right, Mr. Holmes. Gentlemen, I'm Inspector Appley Jones of Scotland Yard.
And a great credit to the force you've been, my dear Jones.
Yes, indeed, you certainly have.
Your impersonation of a country groom was masterly, quite masterly. And now, let's return to the house, shall we? It's nearly 3 in the morning, and I think we've had enough excitement for one night. Very satisfactory case, Watson, don't you think? As we head back to London, I must confess to a certain glow of satisfaction. The fortunes of the Moultries are restored, the villain foiled and in custody. And
Scotland Yard get the credit. You know that, of course, Holmes.
well, they deserve it. Anthony Jones is a very enterprising fellow. Yes, Watson, an immensely interesting case. You see, Moultrie Abbey was, from its name, expropriated from the monks by Henry VIII, who created the earldom. Undoubtedly, the abbots had hidden the monastery's most valuable possession, the bead manuscript.
Then I suppose the first earl discovered the hiding place and left the book there as a future security for the Moultrie family.
Exactly, leaving the cryptic verse as a clue.
If the Moultries be in need, seek the venerable bead. Yes, I see it all now. You know, Holmes, to me the whole case was worth it when I saw that girl's face light up as we told her the good news.
I fear that I'm less impressionable, old chap. For me, my retrospective pleasure in this case lies in the fact that an irreplaceable treasure has been saved, and that a monk who died 12 centuries ago will have been responsible for restoring the fortunes of a fine old family. Yes, Watson, I think that in many ways you might refer to this as our most successful case.
Now, Dr. Watson, how about the new Sherlock Holmes story, The Island of Death?
Well, Mr. Bell, as I told you, most of that exciting adventure took place on a tiny island in the Scottish Lakes.
Wow, they just jumped right into a new story just like that. We are going to pick up with the Island of Death in the next live session. What did we get done here today? Well, we started out with the wings. When I tried to assemble the wings, I found out that they needed a 35 millimeter bolt instead of 30. So in trying to get the 35 millimeter bolt in, it was hitting the front edge here. The back one, of course, had no problem going in, but this front one just didn't quite have the angle to get the turn. Couldn't hit the hole in the bottom. It was getting jammed in there. So had to push out this hole a little bit further in the shoulder, which, you know, I don't really like, but it is what it is. So. After that, what did we go to? We went to incising this mouth hole to be larger, because I think people are going to have muzzle flashes and other things. I don't think people are going to be putting cans on the end and having it stick out of the mouth. I don't think that's realistic. One of the things I did not end up taking off was the tongue. I only brought it out to the end here. So I don't know how people are going to navigate that, but we will leave that up to them. I didn't increase the size at all, just because I would love to, but we're just going to run with it. Where is it? It's over there. I would love to see it 2 to 3 times that size. I mean, we could. Why don't we start with this, and then we'll make a mega one in the future. The mega one is going to have to be printed vertically. Which is going to change some things. It'll make it more. It'll make it more efficient on resin, less efficient on time. It'll take a full day to print. Throwing that thing vertical is unrealistic. But it have to be done. The other thing we could do is we could cut it short. We could cut it shorter and increase, just basically just keep the head, keep the skull. Slide the grip up, just increase the size by. But again, then you can't see past the nose. You won't even be able to see past it. You'll just be like, spray and pray. And for the money, that's not the, I mean, we could put like a hole through it, but like what can you see then? You can't see anything. You're just looking through a hole. Tiny little hole. Hoping that you find your target. I don't think that's the way. I think what we've got is about as good as we can get it. Yeah, everybody wants to ride a dragon. I want to ride a dragon. I want to feel the dragon between my legs, right? I want to ride that fucking giant fucking dragon. Rode crotch rockets, motorcycles, and there's nothing like standing a motorcycle up on the back tire and hitting that balance point and just riding that fucking bike, balancing it, fighting the wind, fighting the curvature of the road. great. Like that is a rush. Feeling the roar of the engine as you lean back and you snap. You kind of rev the throttle, drop the clutch. Oh, that's so much fun. Yeah, just kind of got to rock back and kind of just give it just a little bit of, not so much you want extra. You're not trying to pull it up. I'm not trying to pull it up. I'm trying to put extra weight on the back tire, and I'm trying to take my weight off the front. And we're just trying to let it do its own thing. It'll stand up on its own. I'm not trying to pull it up. We're just trying to rock back, extra weight on the back, and make it stick. Stick-a-boo! So much fun. And then hitting that balance point is one of those things where you're coming up to it and you feel it with your hips, and you can kind of feel the bike here. You can kind of do one of those. And then it's off the throttle, right? So if you're too far back, you just let off the throttle and she'll come back down. But you want to come up kind of slow. And then over time, you can come up to that point faster, right? The first time you come up, you're kind of, and you're picking up a lot of speed, and then you got to set it down. And then eventually you'll feel it in your hips, and then you'll bring it up and you'll be like, whoa, that's it. It's pretty awesome. Nothing like being a teenager and standing a bike up. I can't believe I've lived this long. It's so insane. So after we did the dragon day, incised for muzzle flash hiders, because I don't think people are going to want to run straight threads. And I currently, the mouth was sized for the barrel to come through, but it wasn't sized appropriately for that like nut and wing spacer. Anyway, that was wider. That was 22. So this came in, we had placed at like 18, 19, 20, but this really needed to be 22 or larger. So I think we went with 24. I wish I could have gone 30, but we just started running out of room here. So we might come back to this, but I think we're going to call this good for now. We're going to see what the world says about it. If they like it, if they don't, if we need to make improvements, if not, but we're going to make it available to them and see what they have to say. We're freezing. All right, it's a whole thing. What a mess we got going on here. Look at all the mass volume of products. Well, we've definitely so I'm going to need to export this back to blender, and I'll take this front little, these first 3 horns, then re-export it back out for print. These guys are going to go to print right away. And I think all that is going to happen right here, right now, today. It's all going to print in gray. It's all going to test. I did get a care package out to somebody who's taking a look at some of these dummy rounds. They're not really good at getting back to me. So I don't know if we'll ever receive any information on them, but at least somebody has their dummy round, a few dummy rounds at least. So. Yeah, I feel okay. I feel okay about it. Is it the world's best? Meh. Haven't seen nothing like it. Haven't seen nothing like it. All right, there we go. That's what's getting launched. We're on File. We're going to go to Export here because I've been on just straight STL. So we're going to add it into first level separation. We're going to go 3MF. We're going to go STL because then I can just load it right into Blender. Oh, hey, baby, get down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sleepy baby. What a day it has been. I don't know if the world is ready for the dragon. I do not know if the world is ready for the tactical dragon. I had considered this, and so why didn't I go with this? Because we're doing additive manufacturing, and because this is not aluminum, and I know people are going to attach their light to it, and they're going to be like, this is my flashlight. I think we'll get there. I don't want the first one to have that. Dang it, that's so sick, though. It is sick. But I think if you put a flashlight on it and people go out there, I'm afraid it's going to break, and then it's going to be broken, and then they're going to feel like they have a $200 item that's broken that they can't use just because that cracked right there, right? Like this right here cracked in the middle, and now they feel like, I can't use it because they don't want to put it down here in the 45 or it doesn't fit or I had thought about how I could bolt through to bolt it and make like inserts. But where am I going to get sections of aluminum, of rails that are chopped? It's not reasonable. It's not realistic at this point. So yes, we could just print it. I'm afraid of giving the customers a bad experience. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. It's pretty awesome though. It is pretty awesome. What I'm concerned about is when somebody puts a flashlight on it and then they set it down, and they set it down just to like with a little bit too much force, and that flashlight like tweaks wrong, right on the edge of the flashlight, and that just like breaks it. And then they're going to be like, this thing is garbage. I paid $200 for this, and it just breaks off in the first. I've had it for 8 days. I just set it down. You can see where the flashlight would just pop that out. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe I'm wrong. We could reinforce this. Instead of making this, we could bring this back to the neck there. We could make it a box, right? So they're clipping into the face of that box. Be pretty sick. I like that. We can do that. We can do that. Son of a gun. Now, here's what I don't like about this, realistically. I'm looking at applying paint to this ugly looking thing. In doing so, I'm going to have to deal with that. It's already going to be a pain in the butt. But dealing with that consistently, getting behind there, pain in the butt. Which is why cutting it off on the front and back and making it less visible just to see like what's in there, that'd be make it a lot better. I think we're going to do that tonight or in the next video. I think for now we're going to send the tactical dragon to print on another 12-hour run. We're going to include these side parts. These guys, the wings, we're going to get back to in the future. We're going to release the tactical dragon before we release the wings. So this is going to be the tactical dragon, and this is going to be the tactical pterodactyl. Tactodactyl. No, tactodactyl. It has to be done. It has to be done. Tactodactyl. No. No. Tactodactyl. Oh, help me. Help me. I can't do this. I gotta stop. Somebody stop me. Holy cow. All right. We'll do the start. Nobody, not one was like, you know what we need, must have is a tactical dragon mount, handguard guard, a guard for the handguard. That's it. That's in the shape of a dragon. Nobody asked for this. Nobody needed this until they see it. once they see it, they're going to be like, I need that. That is something that I could use in my life right there. That is something I could use in my life. So I think I need to get, and the first thing that we try to tackle, we're going to try to tackle the tactodactyl. We're going to try to tackle tactodactyl. That's too many T's. I think we're just going to leave it at the tactodactyl. The tactical dragon. Dude. Wings. Dude, but the tactodactyl. Kit. The kit. No. The tactodactyl is coming to a town near you. It'll be on Amazon. You can order it to your door. You can order a tactodactyl to your doorstep. You can buy one for your mom. You can get your aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews. Get everybody a tactodactyl for Christmas. For the Yamaka Hamaka retirement party, tactodactyl. Absolutely wonderful. All right, y'all. That is going to do it for the live stream. What a fun way to end it. We always come up with something good at the end. That's going to make it on the board. We've already got a new idea for I was looking into Amazon. Amazon's letting me down on crowns right now, so we're looking at designing and manufacturing some better versions of crowns for any time that you need a crown. Prom, things, Halloween, I don't know, whenever you need a crown. Every day. Everybody needs a crown every day. So we're going to get into designing those here coming up, maybe even starting this week. So anyway, that's going to do it. Thank you so much, you guys, for hanging out today. Appreciate you. What? Oh. Peace.